Coming right up.
Say you want to retrofit your home to be more energy efficient and climate friendly. But where do you start? A neighborhood group in Toronto is helping demystify the process by sharing information and advice.
It was one of the most exciting feelings ever to know that, I'm not contributing carbon greenhouse gases to the atmosphere, that this house is now completely, off fossil fuels. It feels great.
I'm Inayat Singh in Toronto. Tonight on The World at 6, I'll have a story about how one neighborhood is doing its bit to fight climate change.
Canadian buildings need a retrofit revolution if Canada wants to meet its climate goals. From better insulation to more efficient heating, millions of buildings need to be brought into the 21st century. In Toronto, single-family homes account for 17% of the city's total emissions, and reducing those emissions is not easy for regular homeowners. One neighborhood group is trying to change that. Inayat Singh has more.
And if you feel this pipe right here, you can feel the heat on that.
Paul Dowsett is showing off his home's heat pump system.
That's all the heat from outside in the air that's coming down, and that heat is being transferred to this tank.
The device draws heat from the air outside. Even on this cold, snowy winter day, it was having no trouble keeping Dowsett's home warm. And it uses electricity instead of gas, helping him slash his carbon emissions. But it's not just his own emissions that Dowsett's targeting. He's helping his neighbors.
How can we help homeowners with what is usually a very technical, daunting, expensive, time-consuming process?
Dowsett lives in a Toronto community called The Pocket. He and his neighbors share information and resources to help each other retrofit their homes. They call themselves Pocket Change, helping with anything from upgrading insulation and windows to installing heat pumps and solar panels to finding contractors that are familiar with lower emissions technologies.
There's just a bit of a lack of information, I think.
Raj Sandhu is a member of Pocket Change retrofitting her house.
Or lack of really skilled expertise on some of the newer methods that maybe are more aligned with getting to net zero. Some of the newer technologies, the newer practices.
Retrofitting their homes is one way people can help fight climate change and get Canada to net zero emissions by 2050. Buildings, including our homes, account for about 18% of the country's total greenhouse gas emissions. Brendan Haley studies the gargantuan challenge of decarbonizing buildings at think tank Efficiency Canada and says groups like Pocket Change make complex retrofits more achievable for regular people.
I think Pocket Change is a great example of a neighborhood self-organizing and recognize that they're stronger together.
But Haley says lower-income Canadians will need help from Ottawa to meet the challenge of retrofitting millions of homes.
The federal government has provided support for middle and upper-income Canadians who can pay up front for a retrofit and then receive a grant after the work is done. But the financial barriers are still too great for lower-income Canadians.
Back at Pocket Change, Dowsett and other members are now working to green even more nearby homes.
Neighbors helping neighbors is really what this is all about.
It's a small, bite-sized approach that helps chip away at the climate footprint right at home. Inayat Singh, CBC News, Toronto.